Transcribing meetings is still a hard problem because you have overlapping speakers and you need to match the same speaker identity across tens of minutes or hours of audio. I'm going to show you state-of-the-art approaches for doing this. I will benchmark off of Gemini Pro 3.1, and then I'll show you Chorus Pro, a model from Trelis that allows you to outperform Gemini on transcribing overlapping speakers over very long periods of audio. Now, I'll show you first the results here, and I'll show you the metrics, and then we'll go through some examples. Normally in transcription, we talk about WER or word error rate, which is the percentage of incorrect words measured versus ground truth transcripts. When you have multiple speakers, it's called cpWER. This is a form that takes account of the fact that you have individual speaker tracks. The P stands for permutation and C is concentrated. You find the permutation of the different speaker tracks that most closely matches the ground truth, and then you use that to order the chunks, and then you score it as one long chunk. Now the cpWER here in green is the Chorus model, and in blue is Gemini, and you'll notice the values are very high, which reflects the difficulty of accurately being able to transcribe. On the left-hand side, we have results for AMI. On the right-hand side, we have ICSI. These are well-known speaker benchmarks. They're test sets. They're actually 3 separate meetings from AMI that are less than 1 hour, and then ICSI, some of them here are longer, I believe. In AMI, there are up to 4 speakers, and in ICSI, there can be up to 8 different speakers. And we'll see how Gemini struggles a lot. Once you go beyond 4 speakers, it will typically just predict 4 speakers. Now, the scores here are also a little bit inflated on Chorus. So Chorus is actually closer to Gemini on AMI, possibly outperforming it, and it outperforms it very clearly once you go beyond 4 speakers, because Gemini seems not to support that. Now, keep in mind, Gemini is a general purpose model. It allows you to put in text, audio, images. Chorus is a dedicated model for transcribing multiple speakers. It's a much smaller model. So this is not to denigrate the capabilities of Gemini, which is amazing. But because this is a narrow application and Chorus Pro focuses on this, it's able to compete. So in sum, you can see performance here on AMI is fairly similar in Chorus Pro and Gemini, whereas over on ICSI, Chorus Pro performs significantly better. Gemini is even unreliable when you send in audio and you ask it to transcribe. You can ask it to transcribe with timestamps, and it does so pretty accurately in some cases, but sometimes it will just fail, particularly on longer audios. Now, what I'll show you next is a look at some of these different tracks. So I'll play some of the meetings from AMI and then ICSI. The first one here is AMI. On the top, you will see the reference transcript. So we'll fold across and look at it, then Gemini and then Chorus. And right away, it looks like Chorus has made some mistakes early on, but interestingly, both AMI and ICSI, the test sets and training, they have got errors whereby there is no transcript for some of the audio. And actually, Chorus is correctly picking up some of the transcribed audio here that is not being picked up by Gemini Pro and is not in the ground truth either. Let's just have a listen.
The microphone is supposed to make your ruins.
Right.
So you can see there's actually audible audio here that Chorus is correctly picking up, but is not being caught in other cases. Now, when you move on here, we'll just listen to a little bit.
Okay. Okay, everybody ready?
I think so.
I think the first thing we do is introduce ourselves
Yeah, that's a good
and his name and what your function is. So maybe you start.
Okay. Yeah, my name is Francina, and I'm a user.
So a small example here, you can see some overlap here. That's being caught by Chorus as overlap. Gemini is transcribing it as non-overlapping speech, and the reference shows it as overlapping. Now, the score here for Chorus is a bit above Gemini, but that is partly because Chorus is correctly transcribing some of the speech that's actually not shown in the reference ground truth. So really, I should, in a future video, make a better comparison where I remove this, because it will bring Chorus closer to the Gemini performance. Now, if we go to an ICSI meeting, we'll find that Gemini will often fail to respond in correct JSON format that I've requested with timestamps on transcription altogether. And when it succeeds, because it's not used to doing, it seems, more than 4 speakers, perhaps it was only trained on up to 4 speakers, it will collapse the timestamps into incorrect values. So even though it's scoring 66% here on a cpWER basis, and cpWER does not penalize timestamps, it just penalizes transcript and getting the transcript to the right speakers. Gemini is not able to timestamp, whereas Chorus Pro is able to timestamp. And if you look across here, the transcript, Chorus is maintaining performance pretty strongly as you go across. Now, you will have cases where Chorus will attribute some speech to extra speakers. So maybe you'll think there's an extra 6th or 7th speaker. This won't penalize the score all that much because usually those last speakers, they don't have all that much text included in them in any case. But you can see just visually that the shape of the transcripts here is quite accurately maintained. And a lot of the cases of overlapping speech here, such as the filler here, compared to the main speech, are quite accurately maintained as well. If you'd like to try out the model, you can head over to router.trelis.com. You need to log in with a GitHub account currently, although I'll likely expand that to a Google login too. You can upload a file. You can also use the model via API. And if you click transcribe, like I've done for this sample here, you should get an example of the transcript. Notice how this here is overlapping speech. If you listen to the end, you should be able to hear the back channel.
Strong presence to the villain in this situation.
Yeah, I mean, it totally is.
And yeah, if you want to have the timestamps, you can instead select VTT or SRT, and it will show you. Actually, this, appears quite a bit before the rest, which you can only see if you do it in the timestamp format here. The model primarily will perform well in English, although it should support some other languages, the main languages too. That's something we're working on expanding, and happy to talk to enterprise customers as well about specific applications where we might want to improve the performance for them. As per usual, let me know any questions below. Cheers.